So we're at the Mishnah on Ayin Ches Amud Aleph. Hamoicher is a chamar, someone who sells a chamar. Continuing, weiter with the Mishnayos of the last two prakim, about talking about how you could have, you're selling one object or one entity, what comes along with it. At the end of this Gemara, there'll actually be a little sikkum of all the different people we've seen who say that you include something else along with whatever you're buying. We're just about to start the Mishnah. We're continuing with the Mishnayos that talk about you buy one thing and what comes along with your purchase. So Zok the Mishnah on Ayin Ches Amud Aleph. Hamoicher is a chamar le'macher kelev. Someone who buys a donkey does not buy its trappings, the kalim that come along with it. The Gemara is going to define and bring a machlokes about exactly what extras, what trappings come along with a donkey. Nacham Hamadei, I remember macher kelev. Nacham Hamadei disagrees with the Tanna Kama. The Tanna Kama said it doesn't include anything else. Nacham Hamadei says yes, it does. Yehuda says Pam Machurim, Pam Mein Machurim. Yehuda says a different shita. He says sometimes they are sold along with it, and sometimes they're not. So it's not clear. Is this a machlokes or a compromise between the Tanna Kama and Nacham Hamadei, or is this a separate case? What does it mean? One of Yehuda said, if there was a chamar, someone had a chamar in front of Reuven was selling Shimon a chamar, and the chamar was standing there with its kalim on it. And Shimon says to Reuven, "Sell me your chamar. Zeh, sell me this chamar. Hare kalim machurim." Then the kalim are machurim, because as the Gemara is going to make clear, the Gemara is going to say this precisely, that when you say chamar chazeh, we see which chamar is in front of us. When he's saying chamar chazeh, he's trying to say something other than just the one that's in front of me. He's saying, I want this one with everything that's on it. So then the kalim are machurim, according to Yehuda. Chamar chahu, but if he says, this is the chamar. Let's say we're talking about whether a bunch of chamar, and it wasn't clear which one. But he said chamar chahu. This is the chamar that I want to buy. Ein kelev mechur. Then he hasn't said anything extra, and therefore the kelim are not included. So Yehuda is giving the examples of when do we say that the kelim are included and when are they not. Amrul machlokes b'sak b'diska v'kumni. The Gemara is going to say exactly what these things. Sak and diska are. A sak sounds like a sack. It's something that's used to put your stuff. When you're riding on a donkey, you have a sack to hold the things on it. And diska is also another item that's used to carry cargo on a donkey. Kumni, the Gemara is going to explain, is a saddle for a woman. So a woman is not considered the normal rider of a donkey. Normally, the people who ride donkeys are people who are working. So that's normally men. So Ula says this machlokes is only the question of whether a donkey is normally used for a man to ride on, or is it used to carry cargo? And cargo as far as this question is, a woman is also considered cargo, not a regular rider. If somebody's riding it for going to work, a woman would not normally be working. She would be the cargo. She would be just being carried from one place to the other. This is her Uber. This is the old-fashioned Ubers. Get a donkey to carry a woman. So that's what the Ula says. The machlokes in our Mishnah is talking about this question, where the kalim that are used for specifically for carrying cargo. The Tanna Kama sava stam chamar lirchav kai. The Tanna Kama who says that the kalim are not sold with it, he holds that, like we said, a chamar is used normally for a man who's going to work, he rides it while he's doing whatever it is he's doing. He holds no. The typical when someone buys a chamar, what he has in mind is that the chamar will be a beast of burden. It's going to schlep things around. So therefore, that would include the normal kelim that he used to schlep something around. Aval ukuf umardas kilkali v'chavak, but an ukuf, which is a saddle, that's what a man uses to ride on, not the kumni that's for women. And a mardas, I think it's some kind of strap, and kilkali and chavak. Also, these are different things that are used, both regardless of whether you're going to be using the animal for riding or for carrying, for cargo. All these types of tackle for a donkey, they're called mechurin. According to all these things are always sold along with the donkey. The question was only whether a donkey is used normally for a man to ride on or to carry cargo. So those types of animal accoutrements that are used only for cargo, so machlekes whether they're included. According to the Tanakama, they're not included because he says the animal is used for riding. And according to Nacham Vadai, no, the animal is normally used for carrying things, so therefore they are included. But all these other things, these 4 other types of ukuf, mardas, kilkali, and chavak, that are used for both, you have to have them regardless of whether you're carrying cargo or whether you're using the donkey as a riding thing for a chiva. Everyone's going to hold it's mechur. Even the Tanakam would agree it's so. Mason, someone who says, there's a Bryce that says, I'm selling you chamar and it's caleb. All these 4 things that we said, the Gemara had said, according to Ula, they're always sold along with the donkey. Those are all sold. But it doesn't include those things that are used just for cargo. So this sounds like the Tanakama. But if he says rather than chamar v'kelev, he says I wanted you to sell the chamar v'chol ma'asher, whatever's on it, harikula b'chorin. Then even those things that are used for cargo, if they're on it, then they're sold. So the time of the amalei chamar v'kelev udekani okaf mardas. The Gemara says this Bryce says it's talking about where the purchaser Shimon said, I want you to sell me this chamar with its kalim. He didn't say like our Mishnah, chamar, where he didn't say anything. Over here he said chamar v'kelev. I want you to sell me the chamar with its kalim. It's only because he said that with kani ukaf mardas, and that's the only reason why he's kind of even the ukaf mardas. Then remember, according to Ula, in our Mishnah, we were saying that everyone would agree that regardless of, even if he didn't say anything, the ukaf mardas, which are used for both cargo and for riding, are included. But this Brisa says it's only because he said chamar v'kelev. Had the purchaser not specified that he wants to buy the donkey with its kalim, it would not have been sold. So the Aleph puts in another loy. That's not correct. The Okav Mardas, since they're used to both cargo and riding, the purchaser did not have to specify that I'm buying it together with the Caleb. Even had he not said Chamar with Caleb, they would have been sold along. Because like we said, every donkey is used according to, it has to be either, whether you hold like the Tanakhama that it's normally used for riding, or whether you say like Nacham Amada, it's normally used for carrying things, the Okav Mardas are included. So even if he didn't say Chamar B'Kelev, Okav Mardas Mechurin, but how come Hashmalon, the Afagav, the Amalei Chamar B'Kelev, it's coming to tell you the other side. Even though he said Chamar B'Kelev, Sak B'Diska V'Komni like Kani, he's not kinda the different types of bags for carrying his kalim, and the kumni, which is a saddle for, like we're going to see in a second, for a woman, because she's treated as cargo as well. Those are not kani, in spite of the fact that he said v'kelev, because v'kelev just means for its normal kelev, what it's normally used for, meaning being used for, according to the Tanakama, being used for riding on, not things that are used for carrying cargo.
Who's basically just coming to corroborate the Tanakama to some degree.
Right. Coming to corroborate the part of the Tanakama that he says that the cargo equipment is excluded unless, and even if you say Caleb, it's saying even further than the Tanakama, right? Our mission didn't say anything about what you said, Chamar b'Kalef. We're saying even if you say Chamar b'Kalef, it's not going to overcome the Tanakama's presumption that you mean just to sell your donkey for normal use with the things that are used for its normal use. My kumni, what is this kumni? Like we said, it's a saddle used for a woman, so that's treated like something that's used for cargo. Like we said, a woman usually is not doing work. She's usually another form of cargo that she's being schlepped around by the donkey. Now the Gemara is going to ask a second question. After this question of Ula, now the Gemara has another question on our Mishnah. This din this machlokes that we had between the Tanakama and Nacham Hamada, the Tanakama says that the Kalim are not included. Nacham Hamada says it is. Is that talking about Reuben sold this donkey to Shimon, and the donkey is standing there with the equipment on the donkey? Or are we talking about where the guy has the equipment back in the barn? And the question is, does Reuben have to go back to the barn and bring out the equipment? But the equipment wasn't there at the time of the mechir. Why did all of machlokes? Is the machlokes between Tanakama and Nacham Hamada when the equipment is on the donkey, but if the equipment was not on the donkey, Nacham Hamada would never say that you have to include these saddlebags the way Ula says it. We're not really coming to a conclusion about whether we're understanding the Mishnah like Ula said, that he said it's only talking about a machlokes on the equipment for carrying cargo. But in general, when the Mishnah says it's machlokes, is it talking about while the equipment is on it or not? The machlokes is only when there's nothing on the animal. But on the other hand, even the Rabbana, they only say that when you sell a donkey, that you don't have to go back and get the equipment for it. But if the guy is Reuben standing there, he has a donkey, and it has its equipment on it, no one's going to say, even the Rabbana wouldn't say that he gets to them, oh, now that you bought it, I'm going to take away all the things that you need to use it. It's clearly implicated. It's implied when you buy a donkey that it means whatever's on it. It'll be as if someone sold a car that has it has a 7-seat, an 8-seat minivan, and then as soon as you sell it, you say, oh, by the way, this is a cargo van. I'm taking out all the car seats. I never meant to include the seats with it. So that's the Gemara's question. Tashma was mancha amalehu b'chol masha alav harikula b'chulin. We just brought this brisa, which said that that when this machlokes that we brought in the brisa, whether it's Caleb sold or not, that's all what he just said. I'm selling you the donkey with its Caleb. But if he says, if he says, I'm selling you together with everything that's on it, and if you look at the actual lashon of the brisa, it's actually even a little stronger than that. So if you'll say it's talking about when the machloikus is even when the kalim are in front of it, are on the animal. Machloikus hamani rabbanani. We can understand the Bryce is going to according to the rabbanan. That means the rabbanan, like we said, to say that the kalim are not included, and we're talking about the kalim are oiden olav, and that's what the machloikus is. The rabbanan are saying, even though the kalim are on it, it's not going to be sold along with the dung. Ali Amar b'shein oiden olav machloikus. If you'll say like the second side, that the machloikus is only when there's nothing on the donkey. Al ba'oiden olav divrei hakol mechurin. Even the rabbanon would be moida to nacham madai. Hamani, who is this brisa like? Because the brisa makes clear that it's talking about when the kalim are on it. Because he said hu b'chol masha Allah, it and everything that's on it. It's saying hu b'chol masha Allah, has to be something on it, right? The brisa is clearly talking about when there is something on it. So no, the Gemara says it's not, that brisa is not a raya. It could even be, we could still find a Tana that will support that brisa. And even though it's talking about what this, they're arguing with shein oiden olav, rabbanani, and the brisa is talking about the rabbanan. Ve'emo ubizman she'amalei hu v'chol ma'aseh roy liyasol. It's not that he says hu v'chol ma'aseh olav. It's not talking about in the brisa a case when there's actually the equipment on the donkey. It's talking about when he said, he didn't say everything, I'm selling it to you. Reuben said, I'm selling it to you together with whatever's on it. He said whatever would normally be on it, whatever kol masher roy liyasol, whatever would normally be on it. But ein chanami, if the equipment was actually on the donkey, the rabbanon would taka be made. So the Gemara wants to bring another raya from our Mishnah. If you remember back in our Mishnah, we had the machloikus between the Tanakama, who says when you sell a chamor, you don't sell the kalim, and Nacham Hamadeh says you do sell the kalim. Then we brought Rabbi Yehuda. He just says sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It depends how you say it. So Rabbi Yehuda, I'm a pam b'churim pam she'en b'churim. My love, amay deka amer Tanakama kai Rabbi Yehuda. Isn't Rabbi Yehuda coming to talk about what the Tanakama had said? And Rabbi Yehuda says that hay chamor lefanav b'kelev olav. The Mishnah says clearly that Rabbi Yehuda is talking about a case where the kalim were on it, and was saying that that's where the machlokes is. So this is a raya. If Rabbi Yehuda is addressing the same case that the Tanakama and Nacham Hamadai were arguing about, Rabbi Yehuda makes it very clear. The Mishnah says a kelev olav. Rabbi Yehuda said hay chamor lefanav b'kelev olav. So then that would mean that the machlokes of the Tanakama and Nacham Hamadai is also when the kelev are on it. So that should dispose of our question. So tomorrow, Lloyd, Rabbi Yehuda, Milsa Achri to come. No, Rabbi Yehuda is not coming to say that the first shot we were suggesting is Rabbi Yehuda is coming to say about what the Tanakama and Nacham, they were arguing about whether your kelev are sold with the donkey or not. And the Rabbi Yehuda was coming to say, no, it depends. It's even though they argue, the truth is sometimes the din will be like the Tanakama, and sometimes will be like Nacham Hamadai, and it will depend on how you said it. Gemara says no, that's not what Rabbi Yehuda was saying. He was saying you could say that they're talking about a case when there's no kelev on it, and that's where they argue. And I, Rabbi Yehuda, what am I saying? I'm going to say in the case where there are kelev, in that case it will depend. Does he say chamor zeh or does he say chamor hu? But Eina Chanami, this is not what Rabbi Yehuda is not talking about the same machlokes that Nacham Hamadai and the Tanakh are arguing about. They were arguing about a case when there's no kalim on it. And I'm saying that in the case where there are kalim on the donkey, then we're going to look at the question of exactly how the seller, the purchaser said it. We're on the top of Ayin Ches on the base. Amalei Ravina L'Ravash. Toshma. We're going back to the previous Mishnah. Machar sakroin le'machar sapardes. If someone sells a wagon, he didn't sell the mules. The thunder of tachlichu ba'marava kameder rabo machar sakroin machar sapardes. We asked that there's a brayso that says the other way around. When you sell the kroin, You do sell the pardes. You do sell the mules. But we have that it says loy machar. So should I get rid of this price that says that the mules are sold together with the wagon? You have to understand that price is talking about where the donkeys, the mules are attached to the wagon. That's mashma that our Mishnah, right? We had this whole shakvataria earlier. We're talking about when someone sells a wagon together with the mules, and the Gemara asked a stira that there's a brisa that's our Mishnah said that the mules are sold, and the brisa says they're not sold. So we answered the brisa is talking about. I'm sorry. Our Mishnah said they're not sold. The Brisa said they are sold. So he said the Brisa is talking about where the mules are attached to the wagon, and our Mishnah that said that's not sold is talking about where they're not attached. So the Gemara wants to make, which is admittedly a stretch. The Gemara says since the previous Mishnah that was talking about a mule and a wagon is talking about where specifically where they're not attached, the mules are not there together with the wagon at the time you're selling it, and therefore they're not included. So it must be that our Mishnah, which talks about a donkey with its equipment, is also talking about where the equipment is not attached. So Gemara Adarabba, Emeresha. I'll ask you a question from the beginning of the Mishnah. He doesn't sell, when someone buys a ship, it doesn't include the slaves that do, the sailors that are avadim that work the ship, and not the antiki. My antiki, we asked, what is antiki? Amra Papa, iskad begava. I'm talking about the cargo that's on the ship. So you were derived from the wagon. In the case of the wagon, we said we're talking about with the mules that schlep it are not attached, but when we're talking about the ship, we included the cargo that's on the ship. So if you're going to start trying to bring from other Mishnayos, whether in general this whole parak of these two prakim about Moichas Abayis and Moichas Svina is all talking about where they're equipped currently at the time that they're sold with this other things, the ancillary objects that are being discussed, we have a stiro. Sometimes it is included, sometimes it's not. Elotana mili katani. The Gemara gives the obvious answer that every Mishnah is its own cheshbon. Just because by Kroin it didn't include the mules, and just because by ships it did include the cargo, that has nothing to do with our question over here when our original shiloh of whether the donkey includes the things, the equipment that goes along with the donkey. Whether that was, we're talking about whether they were physically on it or not. We have to figure it out some other way, what the question is. Amar Abaye. Abaye says, so now this is sort of like a capstone, even though we're going to be continuing, but this is whether equipment is sold or extra side things are sold together with the main object. Amar Abaye, Reb Elazar, Reb Shimon Gamliel, Reb Meir, Reb Nosson, V'Sumchus, V'Nacham Madai, Kulu Sviru Ki Mazven Inish Midi, Iya V'Chol Tashmish Temaz. When someone sells something, he sells it together with the extra objects, with the side, with the things that are ancillary to it, with its accessories. Reb Elazar, the Tanan, these are all back from the last couple of weeks. We said, when we were talking about selling a olive press, we said when someone sells an olive press, it includes the beam. When he sells it, he always means to sell the beam that's used to press down on the olives, because that's, like he said before, that's the main part of the olive press. So he says, I'm selling an olive press, he means the beam as well. Do you remember this one? Does anyone remember the Taich of Santir? That was the whole Gemara. What's a Santir? A Santir is either, what?
Screw?
No, they're talking about a cell. He's selling a city. It was either the Evet that was in charge of surveys, or it was a piece of land that surrounded the city. So he said that when you sell the city, it includes these accessories to the city. Ramey the Tanya, listen, I have to admit, I had to look it up. I didn't remember it either, so don't feel bad.
I just remember the name. I had no
You remember the sentiment.
I don't remember what it is.
Don't blame you. It's a peculiar thing, ever that's used for surveying. Like, that's a hush of a job. You know, George Washington was a surveyor. That's how he got his start in life. Ramey the Tanya, Ramey Aimer, Machar Sakarm, someone who sells a vineyard, Machar Tashmisha Akarm. It includes we said that we talked about there, the sticks that are used to hold up the vines. Rav Nasan v'Sumchus, Beitzes v'Dugas. And Rav Nasan v'Sumchus, they mention these dinghies that go along with the larger ship. When you sell a larger ship, it includes the little service ship, the little boat they use to get to the dock. Nachamadei Hadamar, and Nachamadei is our current Mishnah about when you buy a donkey. The Gemara says, so Rabbi Yehuda had said in our Mishnah, it depends on exactly what lashon was used by the purchaser. So, what difference does he say when you say chamar chazu that includes the kelim? That it doesn't include the kelim. Amarav chamar chazu yada the chamar dideyu. If he says chamar chazu, I want to buy this chamar. We know that this is the chamar. You're pointing at it. Now, when he said zu, mishum kelim kamale, so he said an extra word. It's coming to kelim. Chamar chahu. When he says, "Is this the chamar?" He doesn't know that this is the proper chamar. I'm asking, is this the chamar that you're selling to me? So therefore, there's no extra word. So therefore, it doesn't come to include the kelim. Look the Mishnah. Someone who sells a donkey sells the foal, the young donkey with it. But if you sell a cow, it doesn't include the calf. Machar ashva machar zav. If someone sold a landfill, it includes the fertilizer. They would fill it with refuse, with galalim, and it would become fertilizer. So whatever fertilizer is in the ashva comes along. Machar bar machar mena. When you sell a cistern that's used to hold water, it includes the water in it. Machar kaveris machar dvarim. If you sell a beehive, it includes the bees. Machar shayvach machar yain. Someone sells a coop, something, or a coat, a dove cote that's used to hold doves, it includes the doves. The first thing that we said, that if you sell a donkey, it includes the young donkey. But if you sell a cow, it doesn't include the calf. Nami, and by the par also should include. By the chamar, it shouldn't include the young donkey. We're talking about where he said, I'm selling you a nursing chamar and a nursing par. Bishlam, so therefore there's a reason to distinguish. Bishlam par when he's selling a cow, it could be not referring to the fact that it's lactating, the fact that it's nursing, doesn't mean that necessarily he wants the calf. It's not implicit, because he could wants a milk cow, wants to get the milk. Al-Khamar, Mike Amalei, was he saying that it's a cow it's a donkey that is nursing? It has nothing to do with the milk. So it must mean that he means to say, I want with the young foal that it's nursing. That he means that it's called. That's why he said to tell when he said, "I want an animal that's a donkey that's nursing." He means together with the child. Why is a young donkey called a siach? Because when you talk to it nicely, it follows you. When it gets older, it's going to become a donkey, a stubborn donkey. This is talking about Talmidei Chacham. The Talmidei Chacham will say, there's a drasha that we say on this pasuk back in Bamidbar. Bo Cheshbon, we're going to go through the whole pasuk. Alkin Yomra Moishlam Bo Cheshbon Tivne v'Tichman Ir Sichon. And the pasuk continues, Ki eish yotza micheshbon lahavim mikiri sichad achla armayev balich kamois arnon. We're going to go all the way through these three psukim. So bo cheshbon, bo benechshav cheshbon shalaylam. You should go make a cheshbon with yourself. Hefzid mitzvah keneged schara. How much does it cost to do a mitzvah? Keneged the schara. Obviously, the hefzid of the mitzvah, what a mitzvah costs is inconsequential. The monetary cost is inconsequential. Keneged the schara that you get. Uschara aveira keneged efseda. And what you gain by doing an aveira is your momentary pleasure. Keneged the hefzid, the hefzid that you're going to have in chas v'shalom in olam haba. Tivne, continue with the pasuk. Tivne dechainin. It's going to build and establish. If you'll make a cheshbon and you'll do mitzvahs and avoid averis, then you're going to be building in Olam Hazeh. You're going to have a wonderful life in Olam Hazeh, and you're going to also set aside Olam Haba. Ir sichain. And then we said it. The pasuk continued. Ir sichain. If someone makes himself like this, like this young donkey that goes after the Yetzer Hara that whispers in his ear and gets him to do things. What happens afterwards? Someone who listens to the Yetzer Hara, fire comes out of cheshbon. This is referring to, the Rashbam says, we had said before that when people are going to come to Olam Haba, you're going to be sitting under the chuppahs, and you're going to see the guy next to you has a bigger chuppah than you. And we said it's like an eish. It's going to like burn you up, because you're going to see you made mistakes in Olam Hazeh. You could have done mitzvahs and gotten yourself in a better position. It's going to burn you up. That's what means ki eish yotza micheshbon. From making this cheshbon, from lacking the cheshbon and doing thoughtlessly doing averis and not doing mitzvahs, it's going to end up burning you up. Ulahava mikir yisichen, mikir tzadikim shenikru sichen. It's going to from the place of tzadikim that are called sichen. Why I forgot why they're called sichen. Ilonis, they're called like trees, right? The Rashbam said, because it's tzadik atam or yifra. B'toicha achla mayav zeh hamahalach achar yitzra. That's someone who goes after his yetzik. Like this again, like Ayazeh, like this donkey that goes after whispers. Bale bamas arnon. The pasuk continues. Elu gasei haruach. These are the bamas arnon. The Amar Mar kol adam sheyesh begas haruach neifel begehenim. Well, he's going to be neifel in Gehenim. So bamas arnon is a reference to Gehenim. B'nirem Amar Rasha. Ayin ram. It means niram is a lashon and a trickin of ayin ram, a high eye. A rasha is going to be someone who's a balgaiva. Avid cheshbon, he lost the cheshbon. Avid cheshbon shalom, he lost the train. He lost what a person should be doing is making the proper cheshbon. Ad divan amar gashbroch hamten ad shiyavad din. You should wait until the din comes. Until you get to an eish that doesn't need a bellows to keep it going. Until if a person, this is all a continuation. If a person that doesn't make the proper cheshbon, is going to come to a time when his neshama is going to be forlorn. Until the Rebbe Shalom does what needs to be done when the punishment comes. Whoever separates from Torah, they should come eat him up. Shenema v'nasati es panei b'hem me'a'ish yatzu v'a'ish teichalet. Okay, that the me'a'ish yatzu meaning Torah is nidma to eish, v'a'ish teichalim, and eish is also going to eat him up. If someone doesn't follow the Torah, he's going to end up being burnt up by fire. Let's continue. Yeah, let's finish up. Whoever separates himself from the Torah will fall into Gehenna. Someone who goes away from the proper path, the Kol Refaim Yanuach. He's going to end up resting in the Kali of Refaim. Refaim is a reference to Gehenna. It's talking about Amke Sha'oil means referring to Adam. It's called Grafayim Sham. It's called Rafayim. Okay, we'll stop over here.
What actually mean?
I don't know. I thought Rafayim is like a name, proper name. I think it's a proper noun. I feel like it refers also to somebody. I have an idea that it refers to giants. Maybe I'm wrong.
I see where giants came from.
Maybe it is.
Here it's a nach. The Nach. I don't know.